You know, this documentary actually started because I couldn't stop thinking about something. I feel like everybody talks about immigration, but nobody really talks about what it feels like to be an immigrant. I'm not here to talk about the politics, the debates, just the actual experience of it. By the way, I am Afroduchezz. I am originally from Africa and I've been living in the United States for a few years now. And this is just something I've been thinking about for a while living here. I can remember vividly the last night you spent before traveling abroad. And I believe this is not just pertaining to me, it also pertains to other immigrants as well, if they would agree with me. Um, that last night, everything feels so different. The food that was prepared for you, you look around, you see your friends, how happy you guys were discussing about your plans. Then you look at your parents and seeing how fast they're already aging. And the sound of the birds tends to be different. And the sound of the crickets that night tends to, you know, sound so melodious. And at that point in time, and at that moment, it hits you really, really hard that you are going to be leaving all of this behind to start a new journey. And when you finally move here, you get to face the new reality of life abroad. However, it really started hitting me earlier this year. You know, there were a lot of immigration stories in the news, ICE raids, protests, all of that. And every day it was something new. Another headlines, another video, another argument online.
President Trump announced he would permanently pause migration from, quote, third world countries. He is also threatening to revoke U.S. citizenship from foreign-born Americans who undermine domestic tranquility and calling for a review of all green card holders from 19 countries of concern, including Iran, Venezuela, and Afghanistan.
Seeing our arrest numbers come up, we're seeing our deportation numbers continue to increase. Right now, we're deporting on average over 3,000 individuals. Actually, the average has been for several weeks now, over 3,200 individuals a day.
This man, who did not want to give us his name, is the son of Somali immigrants. He says people in his community are afraid to leave their homes.
Because of that 1%, he's using the whole Somali community in Minnesota as basically a scapegoat to do whatever he wants.
And I just remember thinking, if you're an immigrant watching all of that, like, what does that do to you? How do you feel? Like, what is the level of discomfort that brings to you? I also started thinking about something else. Most people don't just come here for no reason at all. Trust me. Some come because they want safety.
I love it because I'm feeling safe and comfortable.
So are you saying Somalia is less safer than the US?
Somalia, actually, now it's not safe.
Because I know like everywhere is not safe. Everywhere. Even
But the
in the US
America,
right here.
the America is safe.
It's safer than you
Yeah, I'm feeling safe, yeah.
It's safer. Some because things back home weren't stable. Some because they are trying to build a better life for their family. It's not one story, but there's usually a reason behind it. Everyone has a reason moving abroad. Amidst all the struggle, you finally get here. Life doesn't really slow down at all. It just continues because you have to go to school, you have to go to work, you're trying to adjust, trying to figure things out again. And on the outside, it looks normal, but there's a lot happening underneath that people don't always see. And when people finally get here, life doesn't really slow down. It just continues talking about school, work, trying to adjust to the system. Trust me, that is even worse because you have a lot of cultural difference that you just have to adapt to. You try to fit in, even though it's not your thing, even though culturally that's not how you were brought up. You just always try to fit in. And at the same time, you're trying to figure things out again. Trust me, it's like you've been reborn and you have to unlearn and relearn. There's just a lot happening underneath that people don't always see. There's also something people don't talk about enough. Back home, there is expectation. A lot of them. Sometimes people don't just see you as someone who left. They see you as someone who made it already. Someone who's supposed to bring something back home. And that pressure, it doesn't really disappear when you leave. It just follows you up to when you're here. And I think a lot of immigrants carry that quietly. You are not just building a life for yourself. You're also trying not to let people down. People who believe in you. People who invested in you emotionally. Sometimes even financially, like I mentioned. And that become part of your mindset without even noticing. And then, on top of that, you still have uncertainty here. You are waiting on documents, waiting on approvals, trying to stay focused. And then you see immigration stories in the news again. And it just adds another layer to everything. Because it's not just about you anymore. It's about everything you've built. Sometimes I try to imagine something. Not because it's happening, but just because it crosses your mind. Imagine someone who left home. And everyone back home is watching them, hoping they succeed, hoping they make it, depending on them in some ways. And then imagine what it would look like if that person had to go back, not as a success story, but as someone returning without what everyone expected. I don't think people talk enough about that part, like the emotional weight of it. Most of the time, nothing like that is happening. But when you've seen enough stories, your mind can go there for a second, even when life is normal. And I started noticing something. People still live their lives. They go to school, they meet people, they go to work, they laugh, they move forward. But there's usually something underneath all of that. Something unspoken, something people don't always put into words. I don't think most immigrants are asking for anything special. They are just trying to live, trying to build something better, trying to make things work in a new place. and still handling all this different pressure at the same time. If there's one thing I've learned from thinking about all of this, is that immigration is not just something people talk about in the news. It's something people live through every single day. And maybe we don't have to agree on everything, but we should at least remember there are real people behind it. People trying to figure life out.